What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the brand new TCG exclusive world premiere cards that are going to be coming out in the 2020 10 of Lost Memories, aka this year's Mega 10s. And these are basically the equivalent of what we got last year with Dark Ruler No More, Nibiru, and Dimensional Shifter. Now it appears that Konami has shifted, yes, pun intended, to some cards that are more focused on the characters and the theme of this year's Mega 10. You guys know last year, Jerome McHale said specifically, we are targeting for these world premiere cards to impact the meta game immediately and try to address some of those problems. This year, that's not quite the focus. The focus is basically just Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. And I mean, come on, we all know in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, Konami is like contractually obligated to support those two archetypes and those, these two characters pretty much in perpetuity. Like, they're just gonna give Dark Magician and Blue Eyes Yugi Kyber, they're gonna give them support forever. So at this point, we might as well just accept it. Now, we all knew about Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, so there's no need to talk about that. First up, we have Successor Soul. This is a quick play spell with a hard once per turn. It says tribute one effect monster, then target one effect monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard, then special summon one level 7 or higher normal monster from your hand or deck. You can only attack with one monster during the turn you activate this card. Okay, so obviously, I mean, just based on the artwork and based on the effect of this card, it seems pretty obvious that they are targeting Dark Magician and Blue Eyes both to be able to use this card. However, you're really not limited. If you have some other decks out there that do play high-level normal monsters, this is something to look at. But just from the context of Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, I think I really like this card. In fact, the more I thought about it, the more I like this card, because those decks both feel like they have just kind of random low-level effect monsters that don't really do much after you put them on the board. Like with Blue Eyes, if you have something like the White Stone of Ancients, or maybe like a Blue Eyes Stone, what are you really doing with that card on field? Like, you just kind of want to get it to the graveyard ASAP so that these cards can activate in the graveyard. Now you can turn that card into a defensive option and still get a Blue Eyes from deck. And Dark Magician, I think it's even better because you can essentially summon Magician's Rod, right? And then your Rod really got its +1. It doesn't really do anything after that. You're just kind of waiting for it to die to try to put it back in your hand and summon it again. Now you can turn your Rod into a defensive card. Like, you can give up your Rod, take out one of your opponent's cards, summon Dark Magician, and if you already have Circle on field, then basically you're getting rid of 2 of your opponent's cards. So that feels excellent in Dark Magician. I think I would consider playing this and Dark Magician because it feels like it should be a live card at all times. It's a shame that you can't search it in Dark Magician, but I think it's actually pretty good in both decks, to be honest, just as like a disruptive option against your opponent. Next up, we have Destin Rivals, and this card is strictly for Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. The last card could be used in other decks, but this one probably not so much. So Destin Souls is a normal trap card that is a hard once per turn. It says if you control Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. So I think the main reason that this card could be playable in Dark Magician is strictly based on the fact that it is searchable, that you can either search it straight from Rod, or you could just freely add it to your hand if it's one of the top 3 cards in your deck when you resolve Circle. So like, basically you can kind of like get this card for free sometimes, or you can directly search it. I think that this card could be very useful in Dark Magician. For Blue Eyes, I don't really like it because I don't feel like they can, like, the Blue Eyes deck can't just get to it at any time they want like Dark Magician, or you can't get lucky and just get to it other than like hard drawing it. But in Dark Magician, Dark Magician is a deck that does historically work really well with skill drain, and this is basically a one-sided skill drain for your opponent. Granted, it only works one time, or I guess for one turn. It does work as a way of stopping your opponent's monster effects. Honestly, I was kind of disappointed with this card in the sense that I feel like it should have just negated all monster effects of face-up monsters for the rest of the turn, not monsters that were on the field like when you activated it. I kind of feel like they should have just made this, they should have kind of went like full on what's the Harpy card? Like Harpy's Featherstorm, basically. I kind of felt like it should have been something like that. Like, it didn't even need to, be a card that I can activate from the hand or anything, but like the fact that your opponent can summon monsters after you resolve this card, in and their effects are not negated, it's kind of a downer. So I can see this as a one of in Dark Magician. It's like a nice little card if you do want a little more monster effect negation and you want something that is a little easier to get to as opposed to like Solemn Strike or, you know, other like monster effect negation type cards. Finally, we have Strength and Unity. This is a card that I'm not really a fan of. It's a continuous spell card that says if you ritual or fusion summon using Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician, you can target one card your opponent controls or has in their graveyard, banish it. You can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, then target one level 7 or higher normal monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, or shuffle it into your deck. And, you know, each effect is a hard once per turn. Okay, so number one, I think it's really bizarre that they didn't include synchro summoning. I understand that Dark Magician doesn't have a synchro monster, but Blue Eyes like has multiple synchro monsters, so why would Konami just forget about that? Like, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Dark Magician also has Xyz monsters, so you could have been like, well, Cap, they should have just put all the mechanics in here. And yeah, I kind of agree. They probably should have put at least synchro and Xyz, because Blue Eyes and Dark Magician have those mechanics going for them. But this is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a scuffed version of Circle, because Circle at its core is really what makes the Dark Magician deck kind of work, because it works on the concept of constantly summoning Dark Magicians every turn and just banishing a card each time, but it's significantly more difficult to fusion and ritual summon in Dark Magician. Like, at best, you might do that once in a duel, so I don't really know how reliably you're going to be able to, like, banish cards from this. Now, the second effect of this, where you get to send it from the field to the graveyard and get, like, you know, a level 7 or higher, which is probably going to be Dark Magician, back to your hand. Like, that's cute, but the problem is, like, Dark Magician already have Eternal Soul, which is like an infinite Call of the Haunted for them, so I don't really know why you'd ever really have to add Dark Magician like back to your hand when cards like Eternal Soul just constantly special summon it. I don't know. This feels like the card they probably were just like, you know what, let's just throw some random crap in there. I don't think that this is that good for Dark Magician. I think this is basically unplayable in Blue Eyes, unless specifically you're running Blue Eyes Chaos Max. If you're running Blue Eyes Chaos Max, maybe, but even then I feel like it's just not that good. But what do you guys think of these cards, and what are you guys thinking of Konami's decision to make our 3 TCG exclusive cards Dark Magician and Blue Eyes based? Because from what I've read so far, people are not happy that Konami basically just completely shilled out to Dark Magician and Blue Eyes again, which, oh my god, they've done this so many times with like, you know, with the Dark Side of Dimensions, and it seems like these two archetypes are just going to get support forever. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.